Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel Frances Rose Art, the channel about art and creativity. Today we're making beautiful hand-painted coasters and some watercolor palettes out of air dry clay. They are super easy to make and perfect as decoration or a gift. First of all, I'm kneading the clay to make it nice and smooth and easy to roll out. This air dry clay brand seemed to be softer than others. I tried to make a sculpture with this one, but it didn't work as well. But for what we are doing today, it's perfect and I like it very much. As you can tell, I'm using a bottle to roll it out, but you can also use a rolling pin. There are some special ones you can buy for clay, but I don't think it's necessary because the bottle works just fine. But if you want to roll them out between two sticks in order to get a certain thickness, it's easier to use that rolling pin since it's more even than a bottle. I also used cookie cutters from Tupperware, as you can tell, to get that flower shape, but you can use whatever you like or whatever you have on hand. A glass or a knife to cut out different shapes, perfectly fine. I also used this tool. This is especially for clay. You can buy them in a set with some other tools, which you will see in a minute. Those are tools with little balls on the end in different sizes. That makes it easier to smoothen out the little pans right here, you can tell. And I'm also using my fingers and some water to really smoothen out the surface. The more time and effort you put into smoothing it and really taking your time, the less you have to sand it down afterwards to get some sharp edges smoothened out. So I advise you to really take your time. Now, as you can tell, I'm lifting it up and I'm putting it on a piece of wood or some tile, whatever you have, to let it dry. And it takes about 1 to 2 days depending on the room temperature, and once it's dry I sand it down and then I can paint it just like the coasters I did right here. I'm using acrylic paint from Schminke and I'm using acrylic paint from Lucas. I really like those brands because they have very vibrant colors, very well pigmented, and of course all my colors I use are light fast. That means the colors won't fade out as quick as some cheap colors would do. I'm trying to paint those coasters just the way I would paint my paintings. I want them to look just like my abstract art. If you like what I do on my channel, I would appreciate a thumbs up and a subscription, and don't hesitate to tell everyone who might be interested in my content to watch my channel. Thank you very much for your support. As you can tell, I'm always painting the edges of my paintings. Whenever I paint a painting, I do this, but I also do it right here on my coasters. I'm trying to make each one look a little bit different from the other one.
You're giving me wind and rain. You're some kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me midnight.
The brushes that I'm using for painting are actually some cheap brushes. When I paint with acrylic paint, I don't have any special brushes. I just use whatever I can find. Usually they are pretty cheap. It's different when I do watercolor. I have some really good brushes and some special watercolor brushes that I use. In this case, I also used some inks and I tried to paint on those coasters with pencils, color pencils, but that didn't work well. But actually ink colors, ink pens work pretty well, and I used them to put on some really nice details. I also used some airbrush colors from Schminke, and airbrush colors are some really fluid acrylic colors, so you can use them on many different undergrounds, which I really like because you have no limits to what you can do with those colors, and I really like that. In order to use the ink pens, make sure that the acrylic colors are all dry because they won't work on wet paint.
So I stand up and speak just my mind.
Have you ever worked with air dry clay? Which brand do you use? What did you do? And did you paint it? Let me know in the comments your experiences. I'm more than thrilled to read about them. I'm pretty sure we can learn from each other.
Baby, you give me ice and fire. You're channeling wind and rain. You're some kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me midnight. You whip up my appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry. Oh.
Air dry clay is made out of natural clay minerals, cellulose, and binders. And what I really like about it is that you don't have to bake it like the other clay. That's why I love using this one when working with kids. And not only with kids, I also love using the air dry clay because this way I can use it at home with no big deal and make some small little cute things. Right here you can tell how the little ink pen works on the acrylic paint, on the air dry clay. I use them, like I said before, to put on my little details that I always put on my paintings too, like surrounding those little spots and putting some lines in it. And I really like it. At first, I wasn't sure if the coasters come out the way that I want them to look, and I didn't know if it was a good idea, but right now I can tell it's perfect to me. What do you think? What would you do differently? Do you have any tips or tricks for me? Let me know in the comments. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Give me the thumbs up. That helps me to be able to create more content for you guys. Thank you. I'm using here a golden gel pen, and even that worked, and that really surprised me. Here you can see the airbrush colors that I have from Schmincke, which are very, very highly pigmented, light fast, and very, very fluid. And I almost forgot that I had these colors. I've been having those for years now, and they still work. And look at how deep the colors are, and yeah, you can use them on different surfaces. So I want to try to paint some leather shoes with those. I think that would work too, because this is acrylic paint, really fluid acrylic paint. Probably buy some more colors that I don't have, and then I would try them on different surfaces, and I will take you along when I do. The yellow airbrush color I couldn't seem to shake well. The pigment was sitting on the bottom of the bottle, but to be honest, like I said, the colors are at least about 10 years old, so I'm just gonna throw that one away and get some new ones. But all the other colors just still worked pretty well. You just have to shake them well to stir up the pigments. Now I'm finally varnishing those coasters. Of course, you got to make sure that everything is dry before you do, and then you just put on the clear varnish. Some people use Mod Podge. I don't have that. I just use the clear varnish, and that works pretty well. There's just one thing I noticed after those were dry, and I really used it, and I put on a hot glass with tea on one of those coasters. It actually popped up like a bubble under the color. It didn't rupture and it didn't come off, but it built a bubble. So the color probably wasn't adhesive to the air dry clay, or I don't know if it has to do with the varnish. Whatever it was, next time I will try to use some resin and see how that works. And I will take you along when I do that too. Thanks for watching and see you next week. Bye bye.